And that if you mix Hell Sweep with forward forward free and you do it in a predictable way, I can actually see the forward forward free. And now you're thinking, oh my god, so this is reactable and Kazia is low tier and needs huge buffs, right? So we set Kazia to do Wavu, forward forward free. Or classic wave. Oh god. My rusty player 1 is trash. Do I Hell Sweep? So the way this works is that it sounds like this should be impossible because it's 19 frames, right? But the thing is, the way this animation works is that pretty much very early in the animation, Kazia puts his left leg high up to give you a very clear indicator that now the forward forward free is coming. It stays there for a few frames, and then it comes down. So when you hear, you know, oh, 23 frames is where, you know, humans can react to stuff in Tekken, it's all about the animation. Because when you think about it, 20 frames is actually a third of a second, right? That's a bit of time, you know? So the reason this is reactable is because Kazia very early on in the animation gets the leg up. So you can actually look for this. And now you're thinking, oh my god, so this is reactable and Kazia is low tier and needs huge buffs, right? That's correct. No, not really. The only way you can do this, guard this shit, is basically in practice mode like this. You can do it against lesser Mishima players as well, who are very obvious in when they're gonna pull the trigger on their mix-up. Like, they're coming towards you. They'll do like two, like... Even a lot of intermediate Mishima players don't really understand timing and mental stack, and they go, blonk, blonk. And if I'm only looking out for that, I can probably react to your mix-up. And I do this against a lot of beginner Mishimas, intermediate Mishimas, where they actually start questioning me. I've heard this multiple times. You're actually using a script, main man. I'm gonna call you out, motherfucker, on Twitter. You blocked every Hell Sweep. And they don't understand that it's because they're extremely predictable. And that if you mix Hell Sweep with forward forward free and you do it in a predictable way, I can actually see the forward forward free. As I just did, and I can react to it. But the thing is, yeah, you can do this in practice mode and against lesser Mishima players, but any decent Mishima player is gonna mix you up like crazy. With the amount of Wavus, speed of the Wavu, timing of the mix-up, and also, of course, something like this, which you're just dead, right? This comes out at 16, which is the same speed as Hell Sweep. So a lot of Kazia players don't even know about this, but the true Hell Sweep 50-50 is between Hell Sweep and While Standing 2. They both come out at 16 frames, and they both have... I mean, it's too fast to react to anyway, but also the animation look quite similar. He just stays hunched over, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like fucking Quasimodo, right? He never comes up with his back. Whereas another tell of forward forward free is that his back goes straight immediately, right? So people like Arslan, they're very good at catching forward forward free. Kazia's back immediately goes straight, and then the leg goes up, and then he waits, and then it comes down. Whereas you'll notice that Demon Godfist, different timings, we can do that. But you'll notice that on Demon Godfist and Hell Sweep, his back stays down, right? You can sort of react to this mix-up, you know, if you have very fast reflexes and if your opponent is obvious, but you're not gonna do it anyway in a real match most of the time, because the only way this works, at least for me, is if I stay crouching. I have to stay crouching to block the Hell Sweep, and then I can see forward forward free, and I can stand guard. But you don't want to do that anyway, because any half-decent Kazuya player is going to mix you up with shit like this, shit like this, shit like this, like this. It's like any Mishima, any Kazuya player worth their salt has a huge mental stack in his wave dash. Huge amount of options. And it's not only about committing to different attacks, but you gotta understand that sophisticated Mishima gameplay is about the wave of mind game itself. When am I pulling the trigger? It's like when people always tell me, why does everyone respect your wave dash all the time? You just wave dash like this and then apply a mix-up. I would just hop kick you out of it. Why are those guys Tekken God ranks but so stupid? Why don't they just jab you? And I'm like, well, that respect is something I've built up over time in a set or a match. It's because I do multiple wave moves where I commit quickly to attacks. I commit immediately. So you build up that threat. And then the mix-up is that when next time I don't take my mix-up immediately, I try and throw you off now. And now I have a chance of counter-hitting you with my mix-up, or just throw off your guard timing. Right? Because last time I knocked you down like this, and then I went for a mix-up, and then they usually try and fuzzy, like they guard for a hell sweep coming up, and then they go back. But they just wait, and they're like, oh no, what's happening now? And then's the hell sweep, right? So that's sort of pre-advanced Mishima gameplay you gotta understand. But also, this stuff is very worth thinking about if you're playing Kazuya and you notice that your opponent is actually blocking your hell sweep a lot. You're being very predictable, you have a low amount of mental stack. And also understanding that against really, truly great players, this is not a real 50-50 against truly great players. But again, that's why you stress them, right? And again, and as soon as someone's stressed, they're not going to react to this mix-up, right? But you know, it's some interesting details here on the 50-50, and I think like a lot of people don't know about this stuff. But Arctic Martini, thanks for 18 months. And someone wanted me to demonstrate with different timings. Okay, I have some different timings. Oh, fuck. Ah, no! I almost had it. So I'm not saying it's easy, I'm just saying it can be done. Just saying a lot of people don't know this, but it's really good to know. So at high level, this 50-50 is more complicated than left split kick or a hell sweep. And maybe you know why now. But Wastening 2 isn't reactable then. No, I just talked about that. The true 50-50 is this or this. There's a reason this move is minus 18 on block. It's because it launches on normal hit, it's homing, and it's completely unreactable. That's why this move is launch punishable on block. So many people still don't punish it properly. Yeah, most people will do that. Most people see it like down for a 2. But tournament players will launch you for it. Yeah. So you would use that instead of Fort 3 because it tracks. I use Fort 3 quite a bit. I actually don't use Demon Godfist that much in this game. I use this instead because the Devil Fist tracks a lot. And it's minus 9 on block. So I use that instead. Like this. Because I play at high level. So Demon Godfist is very risky.